In the 1992 NBA draft, the Orlando Magic received the number 1 pick. With their pick, they selected Shaquille O'Neal out of LSU. He won Rookie of the Year that year, averaging 23 points, 14 rebounds with 3.5 blocks per game. We saw Shaquille O'Neal have battles against guys like MJ and Hakeem in Orlando. Shaq eventually left, but while he and Penny Hardaway were there, they had something. They actually had a future. Later in 2000, the Magic received Tracy McGrady from Toronto. He never got out of the first round with them, but Orlando had one of the best scorers in the NBA. In 2004, the Orlando Magic had the number 1 pick in the NBA draft again, and they selected Dwight Howard with their pick. He won 3 straight Defensive Player of the Year awards with them in 2009, 2010, and 2011. He also brought them to the NBA Finals in 2009, facing Kobe Bryant. I say all this to say, in past years, the Orlando Magic have had some players, some all-time players, from Shaquille O'Neal to Dwight Howard to Tracy McGrady. And now, they seem to have no direction at all. I don't think they've really recovered since they lost Dwight Howard. The most exciting thing that's happened to them as of late was Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest in 2016. Today, their best player is Nikola Vucevic, who's a good player, but when he is your franchise player, you're going to have a rough time as a team. Again, he's not a bad player at all. He was an all-star last season, but he's nothing crazy. He's already 29, so if he's not already in his prime, he will be very soon. The Magic made the playoffs last season. That seemed like their ceiling, at least right now. I don't even think the Magic know what they're doing. Now, I don't want to completely just poop on the Orlando Magic because they have some potential. I already talked about Nikola Vucevic, and he's a good center. He's averaging 20 points, 11 boards, 4 assists, and about 1 steal and 1 block for them. A pretty good player who was an all-star last season. Aaron Gordon is also a solid player for the Magic, but I'm not sure how high his ceiling really is. All I know is that it's not crazy high. He's not a surefire super future star like some other teams have. The Pelicans with Zion and Brandon Ingram, Celtics with Tatum. He's a good player with some potential, but he hasn't shown much in the league. They also have Evan Fournier, who's averaging 19 points per game on good efficiency. Their 2 promising young guys are Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac. The 76ers took Markelle Fultz the number 1 pick back in 2017. But since then, he hasn't really panned out the way people thought he would. Coming out of Washington, he had a lot of potential as a point guard in this league. There was the whole thing with the shooting form in Philly, though, and he still has some potential, but I'm not sure if he'll become the player he was supposed to be coming out of Washington. He could still become that player 100%, and I'm not completely out on Markelle. He's only 21, averaging 12 points, 5 assists, and 3 boards. He has a lot of room to grow, and he can have the ball as much as he wants because he's in Orlando, so no one's really going to take that from him. He's probably the most promising player right now. And if he's not, it's Jonathan Isaac, who's already a good defender, and he's only 22 years old. For a lot of young guys in the NBA, defense is the hardest thing to grasp. It's hard to keep up with these veterans who are just physically more dominant because they're older, but Jonathan Isaac already has that down. If he's 22 and the defense is already there, he can have a hyper-focus in his offensive game, become something special. If Orlando can help him develop and round his game out, he can really be a good player in the league. So they're developing young talent while trying to stay competitive, they're kind of in a weird spot because their draft pick won't be that high because they're in the playoffs, but they don't really have a chance of winning anything at all, not even a playoff series. We're looking at other teams in the East like the Bucks, Raptors, Heat, Sixers, Celtics, and the Indiana Pacers, even the Brooklyn Nets because they have Kyrie and KD coming back. They're all competitive teams who I'm sure believe they can get to the finals. There's other teams like the Hawks, Bulls, and Cavs who aren't really trying to be competitive and are gathering their young talent up, gathering draft picks so they could be competitive in the future. The Magic are in an awkward place in the middle of these 2 types of teams. They're not being a team that can get to the finals at all, but not tanking or getting super high draft picks. They're kind of just stuck in mediocrity. I'm not really sure what their direction they're going into. You might say a team like the Grizzlies in the same position, but the thing with the Grizzlies, they have 2 guys who are going to be stars in their prime. We already know that. Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. They have some clarity, some certainty with the young talent. With the Magic, they have some guys with potential, but nothing is guaranteed like it is in Memphis. They obviously have more of a future than the Magic with the Grizzlies, which is why they're a team I can trust more to actually be competitive, and I know what they're doing, what they're trying to do with their team. And with their Orlando Magic, I'm guessing they're putting all their trust in Markelle Fultz and Jonathan Isaac. And like I said, these are 2 guys who have a lot of potential, but they don't match up with the young talent around the league, the tier 1 young talent. So I'm not really sure what the Magic are trying to do Which is why I'm making this video. I'm confused on what they're trying to do with their team, what direction they're going into. It's not very clear. In conclusion, with their Orlando Magic, they definitely have some potential with guys like Markelle Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and they have a nice center right now who's an all-star, last season, Nikola Vucevic. But with all this talent, I'm not really sure what their direction they're going into, and I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with their team right now, but hope it works out for them. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Shoutout with Hoops Times 2. Subscribe if you love the NBA content that I make. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss a video. Peace out.